And so the Super 12 works its way to an incredible climax. The Transvaal team, fresh from their win against Auckland, 34 points to 22. Because of Henny LaRue's injury, they've had to make a couple of changes. Gavin Johnson coming in to fly half, as you heard Nas Buerta say. Joe Gillingham retaining his position when he came on as a replacement for Christian Scores. They've retained the same pack of forwards who did so well against Auckland. Can they do it against Queensland? The Queensland team have made a change in the back line. Paul Carozzi is out for Damian Smith. Elton Flatley continues to show that he is a boy genius. And then the forced replacement there where Foley has been suspended, and so Cannon comes into the side. That's Brendan Cannon in at hooker, and then the multi-talented rest of the tight five. Some young replacements in the Transvaal side. Louis van Rensburg back from having concussion. Frans Malherbe is a guy to watch out for. He was the captain of the Transvaal under-21 side. Yapi Barnard and Chris Rousseau, enormous experience, as have Queensland in Rod McCall, Matt Ryan and Paul Carozza. It will be Gavin Johnson to begin the game. And this will decide home or away for Queensland. Tune, Hendricks, that's not a bad up and under by Peter Hendricks. It's good cover, brilliantly played there by Mark Connors. And then Tim Horan having to quickly, well read up by Johan Roux. Has a chance for Transvaal to pump it back at Johan Roux, deciding more rather on the tactical kick. It was Damian Smith who hoofed it ahead. Gavin Lawless gets back and kicks a beauty. It's going to be in this area where it'll be interesting to see if Transvaal can continue their form. That everybody feels that the Queensland forwards are perhaps a bit stronger in terms of line-out skills than the Auckland players. Garrick Morgan, John Eales. John Eales at the back of the line-out. MacDonald had read it quite. In fact, Stradham had gone to mark him. Little, as always, barging at the line. Connors showing up well in the early part of the game. Johnson, Flatley. Horan is giving chase. He's the first one up. Courageously taken by Lawless. Johan Roux. And now Tim Horan, having followed that kick up, is nowhere to be seen. He followed up. Tim Horan, his competitiveness, I'm sure, caused him to follow up so quickly. But Transvaal, having turned it around, there was nobody at home at fullback.
I think we just saw again there Johan Roux's huge ability to kick the ball with both feet, and it's a huge asset to have a guy like him in your side.
Tony Daly, and just in front of that man, Garrick Morgan. One of the stars of the Super 12, John Eales, gets the tap back. David Wilson, who was the man who created that last-ditch try for the Reds. Had a brilliant game against Natal. Brett Johnson.
We can see that the referee, Mr. Rogers, just pointing out to the guys to keep the meter at least in the line-out.
That's Johan LaRue. Great take by Philip Scutter, who's really shown some good form in recent weeks. MacDonald strong as well now. Johnson, this is Yapi Mulder. David Wilson is first to the point. The referee shouting, let it go, let it go. David Wilson did brilliantly there. Johnson doing nicely. Great work here for Kefu. And now Damian Smith. This is terrific running from the Reds. They're so good at this. Damian Smith looks like he might have an injury. A good kick back by Gavin Johnson. And Damian Smith is in trouble.
We saw again a great tackle by Gavin Lawless, and also Francois Pienaar falling back very quickly and recovering that ball excellently.
It's a lovely little dart by Brad Johnson, then taken on by Cannon. Look at Kefu moving on the inside, giving his players a bit of space. Damian Smith, who's a tough customer when he's running. Watch this tackle by Lawless. And Damian Smith didn't seem to go down that hard and probably just fall a little bit awkwardly. His knee may have hit the ground, but this is pretty soft underfoot. Well, penalty there. Gerard Combrink going through the line out.
The competition this afternoon, the line-out will be fierce on both sides because there's a good line-out, there's good line-out specialists on both sides.
So a chance for John Eales in modern rugby. You don't often see lock forward. Here we see it again, Kobus.
Here we see guys going up with the ball. Morgan missed it. And then unfortunately Gerard playing from the wrong side of the line-out and immediately penalised by Mr. Rogers.
Just thinking to myself the other day when I was reading the records and saw John Eales and his wonderful point scoring record, 135 points, and thinking back on the lock forwards such as Frick de Preer, Toy Danhauser, Piet Botha, Tiny Nordeer kicking that wonderful goal in New Zealand in the third test match in 1965. Herr Klaas Engelbrecht from Northwest Cape. Oh, lock forwards of the days gone by who used to do a fair amount of place kicking. It's going to curl in. It's beautifully judged by John Eales, and a good start for Queensland.
I think John Eales will be very happy with that first kick. So would Queensland be, to settle the nerves a bit and get right back into the game.
That's with 5 minutes gone. Johnson. Brad Johnson, who was at school with Tim Horan at Downlands in Toowoomba outside Brisbane. As was Garrick Morgan. They played against Jason Little, who went to Toowoomba Grammar School. Good jump there by Hannes Strydom. James Dalton gaining at the Van Nouts, carried on by Ian Hutton. Very good player in the loose. Rue, Johnson, Pienaar charges but flatly makes a courageous tackle. Joe Rue gets a gain. This is Peter Hendricks. And a chance here for Andre Hoerman.
So a great ball won by Hannes Strydom, the front of the line out. Good cleaning up by the forwards in the rucks and mauls and inside the 15-yard of Queensland. Here we see the ball going down the line with Garen Francois taking the pop. He goes down across the advantage line. Good cleaning up by the forwards.
Now Peter Hendricks pops into the line. Gavin Lawless didn't have much to going on for him there. The first scrum of the match. Referee will have to blow them up for that. It's Ian Hutton against Dan Crowley. Dan Crowley, who's had quite a lot of experience in playing against South African teams. First time I saw him was at Ballymore against the Springboks for Queensland. This is Gerard Combrink. Good play by Rue. They're about 20 metres out, or 15 metres out rather. Now a chance for Gavin Johnson to run off. There's a huge hit there as Morgan comes away with the ball. Then Little getting it away. Brilliant catch by Ben Tune. Peter Hendricks has him covered, as does Joe Gillingham. But Queensland will win this ball. Johnson, flatly, Eales. Yapi Mulder made a good tackle. Johnson with the hoist. Rue is underneath it. Well, there were some big hits there by the Reds that got them way up into Transvaal territory.
We saw Johan Roux going up, but it looked like the ball came from the Queensland player's hand.
Great picture from our rooftop camera. You can see the Queensland backs giving themselves plenty of room to run with this ball. Tim Horan is hovering down the short side. Referee must sort this out pretty quickly, talking to Johan Leroux.
You see John Daly and Johan Roux smiling at each other. I think they haven't seen each other for a while. A lot to talk about.
Connors. This is Johnson working the short side. He's very quick. Good tackle by Hendricks. It was Wilson who got it away to Flatley. Now Herbert. Little. Well held up by Johnson. Good hands by Horan. This is to Herbert once again. Johan Roux positioned himself very well. Good cover by the Springbok scrum half.
Queensland throwing the ball around, but not really gaining ground. And again, great coverage by Johan Roux.
Eels right at the back of the line out. Garrick Morgan in the middle. Garrick Morgan's a big fellow. Does a lot of damage in the middle of the line out. A little bit of barging there as Connors gets it away. This is Flatley now. Kefu. And there's James Dalton. We're somewhat tongue-in-cheek. I said the other night that he may have learned to trip at Jeppe, and I just have enormous respect for Jeppe High School, and they've produced some wonderful, wonderful sportsmen, not least of whom is their current headmaster, David Quell, who was a great Springbok squash player. Flatley, now Little. Referee waiting for advantage for Transvaal. Roux. And the referee deciding that's enough advantage, and a good kick by Johan Roux.
Great pressure by the Transvaal backline. We saw Ian McDonald doing brilliant work, falling on that loose ball, gaining it for the Transvaal side, and again Johan Roux putting in an excellent kick. You see the Queensland side moving all the time their jumpers around in the line out.
Great jump by Eels, so versatile. Johnson, Flatley. Well, Flatley, who after the Durban game, the Queensland team went down to Cape Town and celebrated his 19th birthday. Keith Parkinson made the point, he's the president of Natal, that in South Africa we say, guys, a great fly half at 18 or 19, you wander around in the under-20s for 3 years, and if you're still around, we'll have a look at you. Roux. Now this is Johnson. Killinan coming on the dummy run. The Queensland defence, as it was against Natal, is absolutely brilliant. So difficult to penetrate. And that's bad luck for Johan Roux.
I must mention the great cleaning out in the rucks by the Transvaal forwards, giving Johan Roux and obviously the backline great ball to run with.
The scrum there because the ball had rolled into the dead ball area. Johnson, Flatley, work for Andre Hoerman. That's a great kick by Elton Flatley.
We just saw that kick from Johan Roo when he kicked that ball. It was just unlucky to miss the corner flag. The referee brought the Transvaal pack back and to scrum down, but that kick from Queensland could easily have gone the same way, and that's why I don't really agree with the rule.
I think the rule was brought in to stop the fullbacks running up the field and just punting the ball down the field. And I agree with you, Quibus. I think that those types of kicks that we saw Johan Roo kick, the discretion can be left more to the referee. Horan gets it high. Lawless takes brilliantly. Well, Gavin Lawless is going from strength to strength in the red and white jersey. Had some great games for Western Province, but really took a little time to settle in, but now playing extremely well.
I can't agree with you more. I think it just shows you that a player with his ability must be given a fair chance to settle down, get into the thick of things, and he has shown that he's got great potential and he's playing good rugby.
Just watch this catch under a lot of pressure. Ben Tune it was who came up. Eels gets incredibly high. Now it's Jason Little. Look at the elusiveness of the man. Johnson, just the quick peek up to see if there's anything going. Lawless has it well covered. Can't kick out on the full. Horan has it as well covered for the Reds. Johan Roo has fallen back, as he does so often. Couldn't get away from Cannon. Going over the top.
You could clearly see the Queensland forwards really not interested in playing in the game, but to kill the ball. That's why they were penalised by Mr. Rogers.
Ian Hutton, who started his career as a flank forward. That's a good kick by Gavin Johnson. Just got engaged to Penny.
Penny would be smiling.
Great jump by Tunnis Straydon. This is good first phase ball for Transvaal. Can their backs work something? Look at the power of MacDonald. Derek Morgan held him. Now Johan Leroux. Good play by Roo. Now this is Gillingham. Brilliant ball to Peter Hendricks. A chance as Little comes across, and Horan in possession. Just a little knock on. Peter Hendricks got through Ben Tune's tackle. Ben Tune, who defended so brilliantly against Natal. Eventually it was the captain who came to the rescue. Transvaal's best moment of the game.
Just shows you the strength of Peter Hendricks, guy that's getting back to his best form, stays on his feet, plays the ball inside.
You see how quickly the centres came to Ben Tune's rescue. That's a good kick under huge pressure from Flatley. But Daniel Herbert and Jason Little just came on to Peter Hendricks so quickly in cover of Ben Tune.
Transvaal winning good line-out ball this stage through Hannes Strydom and Philip Skitter, and it's good controlled ball as well.
Strydom jumps in tune to Dalton's throw. Roo, Johnson, Gillingham, Diapi Mulder. Transvaal just playing a little bit behind the advantage line. Mulder makes it available well. Johnson looking for a little bit of space. Horan has it well covered.
Heavily strapped elbow there of Timmy Horan Yu.
From farming stock. This is Gavin Johnson's kick ahead. And just John Eales almost in a little bit, that shows the experience of the man. Brilliant athlete.
7, 5.
Oh, that's a change for Transvaal. Ian Hutton taking the surprise one at the front. Tim Horan, it's a high ball that he has to... That's well taken, a little bit too far by Johan Roux. Horan reacting quickly. And so does James Dalton. Johnson.
We saw Johan Leroux flying in there, cleaning out the loose scrum, but unfortunately there was offside played by Transvaal and a penalty to Queensland. You might also say, I think it's great to have Johan Leroux back in the side again. He's a vastly talented player, and I think he will mean a lot to Transvaal still this season.
Tight head position, so vital to any rugby team.
Here we see Johan Leroux coming in, saw John Eales hanging around. He decides, you've got to go somewhere else, my boy, and that's it.
Kefu who got the tap. Johnson reacted brilliantly. Now Damien Smith held up by Gillingham. Johnson just looking for an opening. Eales comes in support. Now Johnson getting it away to Wilson. Good tackle by Combrink. And Connolly taking it over. Cannon taking it over. Right up to the Transvaal 22-metre line. Johnson again. This is Flatley. Horan. Eales. Look at the combination of the Reds players. They keep the ball going so well. Flatley. Deft little touch there back to Tim Horan as it is to Jason Little. They know one another so well. Into Transvaal 22-metre territory. Johnson, well tackled by Pinar, but it's taken on by Kefu. Now Garrick Morgan. This is good for Queensland. Connors. Oh, and he just got brought down short of the line. Be interesting to see what the referee has to say about this one. Would Connors hold on to the ball?
Looks like he's calling them back for a 5-yard scrum. Here we see the Queensland forwards going through the middle. Garrick Morgan, another great tackle by Gavin Lawless.
And then Connors diving, darting for the line, just retaining the possession. This is great teamwork by the Reds. It's just tremendous hand-to-hand. All the backs, all the forwards involved. Good scrum position for the Reds. And Transvaal will desperately want to give a counter shove. They need to get the 8th-man shove going here. Well, Kurbis, you've been in there plenty. What's happening?
If the scrum is dropping all the time, the referee's going to penalise either one of these two sides. Now, I think he's talking to the front rows, and he's this side seeing a more steady scrum.
Connors to Johnson. That's good defence by Transvaal. But Tune gets the touchdown. Ben Tune, the Queensland Colt of the year last year, getting in for the first try. And there you see good handling. It was good scrummage work, but the build-up to that try was excellent work. Connors working well at the back of the scrum. Johnson is just quick as lightning. Horan keeps the ball alive brilliantly, and Tune has to just finish it off. Oh, that's a tremendous kick by John Eales, but just I thought it for a moment it might have slithered in off the left-hand upright. Here you see Johnson, Horan as dangerous as always, and just knowing exactly what to do at the right time. Johnson.
Transvaal opting for the deep kick all the time to force Queensland to kick the ball out and then gain the throw in the line out. I think Damien Smith is leaving the field. He's not feeling very well.
Yeah, and Paul Carrazza comes on. Damien Smith, I think, suffering from that early knock he got in that tackle from Gavin Johnson. Obviously, tremendously disappointed. Philip Schutte in possession. Ian Hutton with the help. So is Dalton and McDonald. Then Combrant goes in. This is good mauling by Transvaal. Johnson on the inside. Pienaar. This will be the first scoring opportunity for Transvaal. Dan Crowley, the man who's penalised.
Dan Crowley obviously asking referee, who, me? Again, we saw a great ball taken by Philip Schutte. Great driving, great control by the Transvaal pack, and then the Queensland forwards, especially Dan Crowley, not allowing the Transvaal pack of forwards to play the ball, and that's what the penalty's for. I think Gavin would like to put this one through those uprights just to settle his nerves.
Well, this is a vital kick from the Transvaal point of view, just to get on the board, as you say, Kobus, to settle the nerves. I think one of the problems is the Queensland defence is so solid that sides can tend to panic against them, and you've just got to keep a cool head and just try and penetrate.
Chris always used to say that when you have the control of the ball, there's no need to panic because you're in control. The other side is the team that needs to panic.
Gavin Johnson, I must say, so many of his kicks these days going slap bang through the middle. And with 13 minutes to go in the half, the difference is just 5 points.
James Dalton's control thrown in the lineouts was excellent so far this game.
Great jump by Hannes Stradum. Rue. Carrazza is underneath it. Horan.
Again, great pressure by the Transvaal forwards. As Johan kicked that ball, great kick again. There were 3-4 Transvaal players putting on the pressure, and the Queensland had no option but to kick the ball out.
Philip Schutte in front of Gerard Combrant, then Ian MacDonald. Good play by Ian MacDonald and well read by Ian Hutton. Nice layback. Johnson. Mulder with a dummy run, then Lawless comes belting through the middle. Penalty Transvaal. There were Red's hands in the way there.
I must say, Mr. Rogers, all over the park this afternoon, right there in the thick of things, and immediately penalising Queensland for playing the ball on the ground.
It's quite clearly here. You see the ball as it was coming out on the Transvaal side. Red's hands going in and snatching it. Kefu, I think.
Kefu, you're right.
Guilty party. And that just... that was a disappointing miss from Gavin Lawless, just not getting quite into it, possibly lifting the head slightly. I was about to say, including the Auckland game, that would have made it 7 out of 7 kicks he's kicked over. So, relief for the Reds. Johnson. And Gavin Johnson won't be happy with that. Just a quick lapse in concentration. Francois Pienaar just having a word with his fly half. Queensland backs a line extremely deep. Connors, Flatley, the skip to Herbert. Good tackle by Yapi Mulder. Little knock on there, I think, indicated by the referee. So still a good ball for the Reds. Connors is a danger at the back of the scrum. See, they've given themselves plenty of room at the back. Little hold up to looks like Hannah Stradom, who's got a bit of a problem.
We see Dr. Francis there running up there. Excellent doctor, also an excellent teammate.
Queensland line second in the log. They just need a point to move up with to Northern Transvaal. Now it's Connors. Kefu moving in very quickly behind Connors. Johnson, Flatley, couldn't hold on, it came quite quickly to Flatley. The referee saying it was knocked straight down, and the crowd baying for a scrum. Horan reading it quickly. This is a dreadful bounce for Transvaal. It was Herbert who went onto it so fast. I think the Transvaal players probably hesitating as Flatley dropped that one.
We saw Peter Hendricks put in a great tackle and also turning the man in the tackle so that he comes down on Transvaal's side. I think a great lesson for the young players.
Johnson is a real thorn in the flesh as he goes on his own. Well, he saw the smallest of an opening and just screamed to it. You saw the pace of the man. The scrum had wheeled slightly. That was bad for Ian MacDonald on the far side. Francois Pina as Johnson screamed away. He had the room there, and Transvaal will not be happy with that bit of defence.
I think, a huge communication gap there at this stage. It looks like Francois was holding back for somebody else to tackle, but unfortunately he had one thing in mind, and that's to score the try for Queensland. At this stage, one can say that Queensland have come twice into the 15-yard or 25-yard of Transvaal, and twice they have scored. Only twice. Transvaal have been playing the better rugby, to my opinion, at this stage, and unfortunately didn't use their chances so far.
John Neal's adding 2 extra points, so moving himself further up the leaderboard. There you just see Johnson screeching away, and then just Gavin Lawless coming across so quickly. Johnson had gone to knee, and that is by anybody's book a good scrum half try. Johnson, Flatley, Hendricks gets past Tune once again, but little is on to him. Good cleaning up by MacDonald. Now Dalton. Johan Roux now in possession. The bounce favouring Tim Horan. Paul Carosa cleaning up. The other thing that is impressive about the Reds play is that there is always a support player running around for those flip-ups. The running off the ball is excellent.
It's always rugby is about you. After you pass the ball, you have to be available to support.
Great jump there by Philip Scutter. Johnson, Mulder. Nice doubling around by Pina. He has a chance for Transvaal, but he couldn't find any support. Good tackle by Horan. Transvaal will want this quickly. Johnson, now Gillingham. About 15 metres out. Little holds him up. And once again we saw an indication that was a brilliant run by Pienaar. Horan, he couldn't get through Horan's tackle, and the Reds formed up so quickly thereafter. Great run here by Francois Pienaar. Straight into Horan. You see Joe Gillingham couldn't get through. Johnson.
I think Transvaal would like to control this ball, maybe drive it a couple of yards, put up the second phase ball for their back line.
Philip Skitter, Johan Roux in front of him. It would have been a great boost for the home team if they had scored there. Well controlled eventually by Shadum. Now Johnson, nowhere to go. Transvaal will need to get this ball loosened up, or else the more going forward, or get it onto the ground. Now there's going to be a problem here. The touch judge has seen one of the Queensland guys committing a transgression. You heard James Dalton turning around saying, "Steer him off."
I think he enjoyed saying that.
It's Cannon who's being penalised.
He's not happy with the decision of the referee. I think one will hear afterwards what exactly happened.
You see where Gavin Lawless is taking the kick from, so it was obviously an infringement at the line-out. I saw the touch judge move his elbow up, so there was a bit of elbow in there. There's 2 minutes on the scoreboard clock.
Again, a very important kick for Gavin Lawless and Transvaal.
I almost think he prefers this angle to the one straight in front of the uprights. Such tremendous pressure on the place kickers these days. And that could curl in. That's beautifully taken. And just before half-time, exactly what Transvaal need. We've seen two very good tries from the Queenslanders. As Kobus said, they've moved down into the Transvaal area only twice in the game, in the 22-metre area, have scored both times. Flatley just taking a bit of ground over the halfway line. Horan. Gavin Lawless is committed, and nobody's in doubt as to whose ball that is. MacDonald there quickly. Roux. Now it's Kefu who's got to move a long way back. The chase coming now from Andre Homan. And now the 1 minute left on the clock. This is vital ball for Transvaal in an attacking position.
I think a vital ball, as you said, just before half-time. Transvaal can use this ball, utilise it. It'll be definitely in their favour.
Hannes Schodem does brilliantly again. I'm impressed with the way James Dalton is also finding Philip Skitter so well. Driven on by Ian Hutton. Now a chance for the backs. This is Yapi Mulder, then taken by Francois Pienaar, tackled by Wilson. Roux. Mulder. Horan is across for it, so is Tune, and a big little mix-up there. Joe Gillingham going for the line, but I'm afraid it's all too late for Transvaal. That bounce almost going, well, it was in favour of Joe Gillingham. He got closed down incredibly quickly. Lovely little touch here from Yapi Mulder.
Here we see Joe Gillingham keeping his eye on the ball all the time. So does Peter Hendricks and Andre Holman. A bit of misunderstanding between the Queensland players. Unfortunately for Joe Gillingham, he couldn't get the pass inside, and it's a chance. It went astray for Transvaal.
Well, it's a game that both sides want to win. Transvaal, for the whole of South Africa's point of view, obviously the Reds to get a home game, and the 9 points, the difference is still anybody's game. We'll be back for the second half. Flatley. Johan Roux, who showed such incredible timing with his punting, and he just sort of seems to poke at the ball and it goes an absolute mile.
I think one can understand why he played flyer for the Northern Transvaal and the 20 side.
Interesting to see Eels back there fielding that kick, Purvis.
I think he played fullback for the Queensland under 20s maybe.
Little bit of double banking by the Queensland Reds. Transvaal's advantage at the scrum.
So have a look at the scrum. You this side, Johan Leroux against Tony Daly, two very strong men. You can see Johan Leroux getting a great right shoulder.
Johan Roux. Now Andre Homan will want to run at this very hard. Tim Horan taking the mark. Such an experienced player, 38 test matches. Played for the Wallabies before he played for Queensland in a Bledisloe Cup game. Well returned by Horan. Kubus at the scrum, we saw the front rows go down, and then as we just see the Horan making that mark. And but we saw at the scrum the guys go time and again. We hear the guys saying it's your call, it's your call. Just what happens there?
If it's the input, if you're putting in the scrum, then you would like to have your right shoulder, which means your tight head must hit first in the scrum and get a right shoulder, so it allows your backline to get a better ball.
So in other words, you judge when the scrum goes down.
Absolutely, it's the call of usually the hooker that calls, and he wouldn't go down if the whole pack is not tight behind him.
Now we're with Johnson. And we're with Johnson once again. The long ball skipping, getting him lawless. And the ball just getting away from Tim Horan a little bit there. The bounce for once favouring the Transvaal team.
I think Timmy Horan just not sure about that bounce. He let it bounce before he was sure which way it was going, and unfortunately for him, and fortunately for Transvaal and Gavin Lawless, it's a line out inside the 25 of the Queensland side.
This turf at Ellispark you can see in magnificent condition. A few little lumps coming up and down when the scrums have gone down, but this grass has only been laid for 4 months. Bit of basketball going on. Johnson. Chance for Peter Hendricks. Lawless.
We saw a great battle in the line-out so far. Every guy really had to give 100% to win his own ball.
Flatley looking for space. McDonald, we want to stay on the inside. This could be a nice ball for Transvaal. Now Johnson just darting over the advantage line. They want to retain the possession. Roux taking it on to Yapi Mulder, who also gets over the advantage line. The Transvaal need to keep this driving up. The long ball to Lawless. Now a chance for Peter Hendricks. It's interesting to see Ben Tune, who tackled so brilliantly. Peter Hendricks is a tough customer, playing his 117th game for Transvaal today. and their record try scorer. Watch how Ben Tune hangs off a bit now, just shepherds Peter Hendricks. That's clever defensive play, and then make sure he hits the touchline. Garrick Morgan. Well, the line-out's pretty even in terms of both sides catching their own put-ins. Flatley is back for it. I think it was MacDonald who was penalised for coming off the side of the scrum too early. The breeze, if anything, is slightly in favour of Queensland at the moment. Watch on the far side. In fact, it was Gerard Kombrink who came off the back of the scrum too early. He realised, I think, that he'd been lumbered. That's good recovery there by Johnson. John Eales was the man who couldn't get it to the back for the Reds. Kefu offsides. Now Pienaar taking quickly. Wilson makes the tackle. Roux, Mulder. Now what is Gavin John? No, it was Johan Roux looked to take it very quickly. Francois Pienaar says hold on a second. Lawless can kick it from here.
Having a guy like Johan Roux on your side, always keen to run, and I think Francois nearly lost his mouth guard shouting for him to hold it, hold it. We're definitely going to go for posts. You the guys, there's always a lot of talk about playing on high altitude, and I think if Transvaal will swing the ball around after about 20 minutes in the second half, the Queenslanders will really start to feel this, because they come from the coast and they played it down in Durban against Natal, so they haven't had a lot of time up here to climatise, as they say.
Well, they decided actually to stay at the coast, so they came up just yesterday. He kept his head down that time, but just shaving the upright, had the distance. Well, there was a mark taken there in the in-goal area, so Mr. Rogers quite rightly insisting that it is taken quickly in from Andre Homan. Now Roux, this is Johnson. Cowley makes a good tackle, chance for Dalton to keep it going. This is it, and Little makes a great tackle as well. Roux, they want to move this a little bit wider than that. Now they've given the Reds time, they move it wide quickly. This could be a chance for Transvaal. Great catch by Gillingham. Good defence by the Reds again. Is that high? The referee says it is.
Great piece of play by Transvaal, and again just showed you the great defence by the Queensland side. Here we see the ball going down the line. Joe Gillingham taking it, playing out of Peter Hendricks. Good tackle, he plays Joe, coming around again. And obviously a very high tackle and a penalty then for the Transvaal side. The Queensland guys are standing all with their hands on their knees. I think they're breathing a bit heavily at this stage, and if Transvaal can keep up the pace, because they're used to altitude and used to playing at this pace, it could mean trouble for Queensland.
And I think if they'd moved it wide the first time, Queensland only had two defenders there, and they would have been in real trouble. It just gave them that 3 seconds to reassemble their defence. Vital the territory turns into points. And once again, Gavin Lord, just the shaving. Transvaal Pienaar must be thinking to himself, is it now time to let Gavin Johnson have a try? Rue. Now Homan and Johnson are there, so is Eels. Eels makes a terrific catch. Such a valuable player to the Reds. It's quite right, it was Eels was taken in as he caught the ball. Transvaal using the up and under. I think maybe they should move the ball a little bit wider. They've used the up and under a great deal today, and Horan and these guys are rock solid. Flatley just looking for ground. This is Homan, Lawless. Another good kick by Gavin Lawless. 29 minutes left in the game, no score in this half. 15 points to 6. Queensland lead. 2 tries they've scored. This is Jason Little. Well tackled by the Transvaal midfielders. Johnson. Well directed kick by the scrum half, one of the stars of the game today. Gavin Lawless, 2 out of 5. Again, the pressure is there, but his general play has been outstanding. Well, there's John Connolly on the left-hand side of your picture, and Andrew Slack, former Wallaby captain.
Great ball taken by Hunter Stadium under tremendous pressure, but offside play or rather than infringement by the line-out by the Queensland side, and the pressure is off the Transvaal side.
Nicely taken kick by Gavin Johnson. In fact, it's a superb punt.
As Barley Swart would say, he kicked the blood out of the ball.
Talking about Barley Swart, Quibus, I saw him outside in the car park this afternoon. He's looking pretty well. And you and he going to start playing at the end of the month?
Absolutely. Barley think will be back in the side within the next 2 weeks, and he's very keen.
Philip Skitter tapping down nicely to Ian Hutton. Rue, Johnson, Lawless has come on the dummy run. This is a chance for Gillingham. Andre Horman had also doubled around the outside. Gerard Kombrink falling away from the ruck. This is Johnson once again, and need to retain the possession. MacDonald, then LaRue did well to pop it up to Johan Rue, who would have preferred to have done something better with that.
I think Johan, having that shy smile on his face, he knew that he can do much better than that. He's been playing a great game so far. Only that slight mistake on his side.
Well, he realised, I think, at the last second that Garrick Morgan was right up there and tried to re-grab the ball. Just having a look at James Dalton there momentarily, and at the late great and dear friend Des Sinclair's funeral the other day, and seeing Wolf Rosenberg, and they were both Jeppy boys, played in 4 tests against the 1955 Lions, and I was wondering if any guys from the same school had ever played as partners for South Africa before. To do a bit of trivia, I know that schools like Grey and Weinberg Boys High come to mind, but as centres or as locks or as front rows, I'm not sure that anybody emulates Jeppe.
I know that when we played Western Samoa before the World Cup, at one stage it was Bali Swart and Morne Visser from Western Province, same school that packed down in the same test against Western Samoa.
Oh, well, there we go. And I'm sure there must have been somebody in the olden days as well. Important throw by Dalton, beautifully taken by Skitter. Rue. Well, that was a waste of good ball by Transvaal. Another good attacking position for the Reds.
Break up, come up, please. Come up, please. Let's go. You must come together, okay?
Johnson, Flatley, Herbert, very strong runner, Daniel Herbert. The Reds forwards drive in. This is where they've been so dangerous this afternoon. Flatley just trying to find a man on the inside. The referee penalised, I think it was Francois Pienaar that he penalised. Francois Pienaar made the tackle and it would have been very difficult to roll away from that. I didn't see other players coming over the top.
Yeah, I really agree with you 100%. When one makes the tackle and the other side is on top of you, a couple of players, it's very, very difficult to roll away. Johnny's trying to gain a couple of yards there.
Not that he really needs to in terms of distance. And John Eales's judgment is good. And one of the big features of the game is territorially it's been all Transvaal, but when Queensland get up into those areas, they've scored every time. Good kick in by Johnson, allows McDonald to grab the ball. Rue, Johnson, now Yapi Mulder looking for space, held up by David Wilson over the Queensland 22. Pienaar drives hard. Kefu, who made the tackle, now it's Peter Hendricks. Rue again. Transvaal need to make this tell. See Garrick Morgan making the tackle, then Jason Little. Now it's a good ball for Transvaal again. Pienaar. They must keep it alive if they're going to have anything going here. Penalty Transvaal. Now, will they take the kick at goal? Johan Rue's just waiting for instruction from his captain. Now Rue running it wide. This is now Gerard Kombrink. Rue once again. Lawless desperately looking for play. Look how Flatley tackles. Rue once again, McDonald thundering at David Wilson, who holds him up well. Kombrink desperately trying to grab the ball. One of the Queenslanders coming into the maul at the side of it. It was Connell Cannon who was lucky not to be penalised there.
Good play by Transvaal, but again, we must say that the defense of the Queensland side very good. Here we see the hooker there coming into the side and should be penalized because you're not allowed to come into the side of a loose scrum, but rather from the back. Transvaal in a very good attacking position at this stage.
All the Transvaal backs have formed up on the far side of the field. Andre Huerman, the only guy down this end. Look how the Transvaal backs have lined up there. Roo, this is brilliant running by Diapi Mulder. Roo popping it up again. Johan Leroux going at the line. Can they get through it? Desperate on the inside. Good catch by Gavin Johnson. Another penalty to Transvaal. They'll want to run this one again quickly. And now Dalton and Roo getting in a bit of a mix-up. Dalton nearly bumping his mate over the goal line. McDonald, the pass quickly there from to Huerman. Now Peter Hendricks, can he get away from the cover? Can he get it down? Hendricks got the touchdown!
Great try by Peter Hendricks, and you can see how delighted he was with it. He really put his head down. He worked very hard and scored an excellent try. And one can't help feeling that Transvaal is back into the game with an excellent try. We see a lot of second phase ball, taking the pops, putting it up again. Great rucking. Here we see a loose scrum. Philip Skidder going in. Ian McDonald playing scrum off. He plays it wide. Great take by Joe Gillingham. He skips Gavin Lawless. Andre Huerman in the back line. Peter Hendricks shrugs off the first man. Strong player. A second man, and he just keeps on. He scored a great try.
That was actually brilliant determination. Look at that, 3 Reds players around him.
Peter Hendricks back to his really best.
That's try number 79 for Peter Hendricks. Way ahead of, I think it's Gis Maritsu's second with about 42 or 43.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who was shouting the hardest, the crowd at Ellispark or from Pretoria.
Gavin Johnson again sending the ball in exactly the same direction. This was after continuous pressure. It was a great catch there by Joe Gillingham and pass. Andre Huerman up in the line. Peter Hendricks has been a handful for Ben Tune all day. Look at he even holds off Tim Horan. Flatley gets across. I must say Elton Flatley's defense has been good. Johnson drives the Reds back again with another tremendous punt. Now have the Reds run out of steam. I know the people in Brisbane and around Ballymore must be screaming for their team, and they know that this is vital that they get the home ground advantage for the semi-final. The other results still to come later on today. What a magnificent series. Little held up by Pienaar. Johnson. Huerman is back for it. Lawless. Perhaps a little bit too far by Andre Huerman. Now it's Cannon who can charge at the Transvaalers. Andre Huerman went across to make a good tackle. Johnson, Flatley, now Little again. Good tackle in midfield once again by the Transvaalers. David Wilson in there very quickly. Somebody's hurt, somebody's badly hurt. It looks like it's Francois Pienaar. Well, the players called the first aid men over there extremely quickly. I see that it looks like there's blood on his leg. And now maybe, look at that, there's a bit of stamping going on there. And Francois Pienaar looks like, I mean, the way the players called the first aid on quickly was not the happy situation.
One can only hope that it's not a very serious injury, but Francois is luckily in very good hands with Evan Speechley and Dr. Verster. one can't really see what's going on in this loose scrum. Good to see John Eales going in with the boot viciously, hopefully for the ball.
That's the drive going over. I just don't know whether Francois Pienaar got hurt before that. Now, if you look, I just saw on the left side of his thigh looked like there was blood, but they seem to be attending to his right leg. Well, this isn't a great moment. Francois Pienaar's obviously got a major problem in terms of his knee there.
Looks like he's all right. He injured his knee, but he's limping, but he's back and ready to play.
Meanwhile, it looks like Jason Little has gone off. He's got a cut above the head. Brett Johnson, who's been a thorn in the flesh of Transvaal all day, and has done it again. Timmy Horan gets in for the try, and Johnson is the man who set it up once more. Well, I think the Transvaal players caught a nap in there. Brett Johnson is congratulated by his captain. It was a brilliant break. You see how he once again gets away from the cover defence. Probably reading very well that Francois Pienaar wasn't fully fit. See how Tim Horan reads the play, and that's try number 3 for the Reds.
Even exactly the same move. Dummy through the gap, pulls his man, puts up Timmy Horan, and he's got one way all around to put it down behind the post.
John Eales adds the extra 2 points, and now the lead looking pretty handsome for the Reds with 14 minutes to go. Well, you read about Brett Johnson's life story and down at Downland School, and they always said he was lightning quick. This is Combrink driving forward towards the Reds as 22, double round by Johnson. Just a desperate foot coming in there. Horman, now Lawless, a little bit too far.
It looks like Chris Rousseau is the replacement for Francois Pienaar, and he's a real live wire.
In that position, Transvaal would want to keep the ball in hand, keep the ball in field. Now just kicking the ball away, giving the possession to Queensland. Not in straight by Cannon. MacDonald working hard with Combrink. Then comes in the replacement Rousseau. They need to run over that ball. Ruin right behind his forwards. The dummy run once again. Yapi Mulder just held up for a moment. Lawless got it away to Johnson nicely. This is good running by Gillingham. They need to keep the ball alive once again. Just that vital pass not going Transvaal's way. Dalton will drive back at the opposition. He's scragged by Garrick Morgan, laying it back to MacDonald. But they're losing ground a little bit. Transvaal, Lawless up in the fly half position. Transvaal going back further and further backwards. MacDonald, he's lost it forward from Carosa. Look at that kick ahead by David Wilson. Well, it's so difficult, Kobus, when you're pounding away at a team. That, I must still say, and I've said it so often in the 160 minutes, I've commentated Natal and the Queensland Reds. Their defence is absolutely brilliant.
You once got to give them the credit. They are defending great, and also when they have their chances, they use it.
So far, Queensland with 4 points, looking like getting 4 points for the win. That'll take them up to 41 points to top of the log.
See, Brett Johnston, he's had a great game so far.
Now, if Natal get 5 points against Auckland, they will go up to third on the log, level with Auckland. So it's going to be a vital game for both sides down at Kings Park this afternoon. Yapi Mulder was Tim Horan's moved into the centre position. That's Joe Gillingham. Can't get past Daniel Herbert. Mandzusiak at fullback. This is Connors. Lawless. Well, that's deep in Queensland territory, but Queensland will be quite happy with that. With 9 minutes to go, they're put in at the line out.
At this stage, Queensland, whenever they get the ball, they just pump it deep into Transvaal side and putting the pressure on the Transvaal team.
Mandzusiak, the guy who's replaced Horan, who's moved up to the centre in place of Jason Little. Eels the tap to Johnson. Quite happy to do this, unless Peter Hendricks can run back at them. Well, at the moment, both sides playing gaining grounds. If Queensland are going to continue to kick back into Transvaal territory like that, then the Transvaal backs are going to have to sprint back and try and counter-attack. And I'm sure that Queensland get the ball now flatly. Will be happy just to pump it down into Transvaal territory. Mark Connors showing good all-round skill. Well taken by John Eales. Garrick Morgan appeals to Sir. Flatley. Now it's Herbert. Transvaal players swarming around Herbert very quickly. Johan Roux will want to take this tap fast. Getting the play on the go. Now it's Ian Hutton who goes away. This is Roux. Comrade couldn't hold on. Johan LaRue shows his disappointment. Or was it Hannes Strydom there, Quibus? That's Ian Hutton making the running. And then a little dart from Johan Roux. Ian MacDonald it was who just couldn't hold on. So it looks like the one semi-final will definitely be at Ballymore, with Queensland being number one. Natal have got to get 5 points. Otherwise, it could be Northern Transvaal against Auckland. Still Transvaal pound away at the Queensland line. Referee waiting for an advantage. Roux wants the ball quickly. Looks like Yapi Mulder is in trouble. Johan Roux saying get out of the way. Now it's Ian Hutton once again. Good tackle from Kefu and from Cannon.
Referee slightly blowing that one too quickly because Harold Comrie was away with that ball.
14 points the difference. There's still 6 minutes to go. One feels that now Johan Roux taken very quickly. Can he get over at under the post? Referee awarding the free kick again. We've seen some penalty tries from these positions before. Queensland players still not behind the goal line.
We see the Queensland players absolutely playing negative rugby at this stage, killing the ball all the time, and the referee must really penalise them.
And one feels if Transvaal are going to level this game, which is about all they can do, they're going to have to score within the next half minute. Trying to get the scrum going forward, so it starts to go forward now. Johan Rood darts once again, and Johan Rood does it for the home side.
A try that will do a lot of good for the Transvaal's confidence, because I really believe they've played well today. Just didn't use some of the opportunities they have. Great scrum by the Transvaal pack here. Johan Rood picking it up. He saw one thing, and that's a try line. Good try for Johan Rood in the Transvaal.
Gavin Johnson has taken over the kicking. This is Johan Rood. That's a great stretch by him. The tremendous pressure by the Transvaalers. And Transvaal's place kicking woes continue. They've now missed 14 points in kicks. By contrast, John Eales has missed 2. Johan Rood darting well, getting just through, hands above Kefu's tackle. But it had been the continuous forward pressure. And at the end of the day, the difference in the two teams could be those 2 brilliant breaks by Brett Johnson. Ben Tune. Peter Hendricks is there. Ben Tune hasn't had too much of the ball. He's had to tackle for a lot of the game. That's good driving back by the Transvaalers.
Again, we saw great pressure. A good kick by RP Mulder. He's got a tremendous left boot on him. And great pressure by the Transvaal backs, especially Peter Hendricks.
There's no doubt that Peter Hendricks has had the better of the afternoon. Yapi Mulder lending a hand there as well. So Joe Gillingham. Peter Hendricks has most definitely had the better of Ben Tune today, but Ben Tune, remember, only 19 years old. Peter Hendricks played in the test here against the All Blacks, South Africa's return to rugby in 1992. There's the bang from Peter Mulder. Those are tough boys, including Ben Tune. Good driving back there from Joe Gillingham, and Chris Rousseau there very quickly. Peter Hendricks taking the ball level with the scrum. MacDonald going in very quickly, secures it for his scrum half. The crowd screaming for Transvaal to move the ball around. The Reds defence up very quickly. Daniel Herbert is so solid. Now Transvaal is just losing a forward. 2 minutes left on the clock. There's a little bit of injury time. If Queensland get the 2 points for the draw, they'll still move up. That's Mandrusiak. Tremendous defensive kick. Andre Human looking to get it in quickly, but Paul Carrozza had hurtled down the field.
I think one can believe that Transvaal will really run this ball. There's about a minute left to play.
Another great jump by Stradham. This is Johnson, now MacDonald. See the brilliant tackling of the Reds again. Yapi Mulder, Joe Gillingham. Now Hendricks gets past his man once more, but couldn't keep it on the inside. The sands of time have run out. It's now just injury time. And so Queensland will move after this absorbing Super 12 series. Queensland will move to the top of the log by dint of the fact that they will get 4 points on top of their 37. Northern second with 38. And there's still the decider between Natal and Auckland as to where the home grounds will be. But Ballymore will have one of the semi-finals. Johnson, Flatley. Lawless. Moving it quickly on the inside to Peter Hendricks. It's been one of the star turns for Transvaal, but he can't run through Garrick Morgan. Now one last thrust by Transvaal, Yapi Mulder, just losing his way a little bit. Ian Rogers blows the whistle, the final whistle, and one must say that the Queenslanders took their chances. I'm sure that the Northern Transvaalers and Natal will be disappointed. That man, Brett Johnson, had two absolutely brilliant breaks. He was the thorn in the flesh, setting up not only a try for himself, but also for his captain, Tim Horan. Their defence, we've said it so often. Quickly, Querbus, what do you think?
I agree with you. One must compliment Queensland with a great defence, but also Transvaal played very well. I think they got extremely great ball on the line out, drove well, great rucking, and when they used their chance, they played excellent rugby. I think just the difference was Queensland had those two chances that they had because of communications in defence, and they used it, and that made them the winners.
Well, here's one of Brett Johnson's breaks. This is the second one, set up Timmy Horan's try, and that was really just a great play by the scrum half. It showed tremendous acceleration. This is Johan Roos' try as he gets through Kefu's tackle. Queensland have come here, played in 2 games, they've won both their away games. They showed in the dying seconds of the game against Natal that they're never say die side, and they deserve to be top of the log.
This has been a presentation of Fox Sports.